Greetings and welcome to the Astronomy Picture of the Day podcast. Today's picture for June 28th of 2025 is titled Lunar Farside. So what do we see here? Well, here we see an image of our moon as taken by the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. And not a single image, but over 10,000 images put together. And these were images taken between the end of 2009 and the beginning of 2011. And when you put those all together, you can piece together a picture of our moon. And you might note it doesn't look like the moon you're used to seeing in the sky. And that's correct. This is the far side of the moon. So because of the rotation of the moon and its rotational period being equal to its period of revolution around the Earth, it always keeps one side pointing toward Earth. So we always see the same side, and that means for all of recorded history, we saw the same side of the moon that you're used to seeing when you go out and look at the moon. However, there is another side to the moon as well, the side that always points away from Earth and that we never see. And in fact, until the late 1950s, we had no idea what this looked like. And that's when the Soviet Union sent the first spacecraft around the other side of the moon and sent back a couple of images showing what the far side looked like. And what we find is it's very different than the part we're used to looking at. When we look at the near side of the moon, we see the highlands, the lighter colored areas, and we see the darker maria. Now here we have very few flooded areas. You may see a couple off to the left-hand side there, where there's a couple of craters that have been flooded, and you see two of them over there to the left, and you kind of have a large, big impact towards the bottom of the frame that it looks like it's been very heavily cratered, but is slightly darker colored and may have some signs of having been flooded, and you can see a few sections that are flooded in there as well. But overall, it's very different. Now, why might the other side of the moon be different than the side facing toward Earth? Well, the thought is that the crust here is thicker, and therefore harder to penetrate and allow lava that would have once existed inside the moon to flow outward. The crust on the near side of the moon, the side pointing toward Earth, was thinner and therefore easier to fracture and to allow the material to then flood in those lower lying areas. So it happened on the side of the moon that we see, but it did not happen on the other side of the moon, that portion facing away. So what we see here are lots and lots of craters. Now we can see tons of craters, and in fact overlapping craters. And we can judge the age of a surface by how many craters are there. So the more craters there are and the more overlapping craters we see, the older that part of the surface is. So we see some of the regions with lots and lots of craters and some with fewer craters here, telling us the relative ages of those sections of our moon. So that was our picture of the day for June 28th of 2025. It was titled Lunar Farside. We'll be back again tomorrow for the next picture, previewed to be Dark Sand. So we'll see what that is about tomorrow. And until then, have a great day, everyone, and I will see you in class.